It's a bit of a strange one being a Liverpool fan this season, isn't it? Feels kind of like it's feast or it's famine. Got this 7-1 against Rangers, just blowing them out of the water. You got the 9-0 against Bournemouth. And then you have all these other disappointing, not very good results. But look, I'm not complaining. It was an incredible result. To win in the Champions League away from home, 7-1. I don't care what the circumstances. That is an excellent, excellent result. And Liverpool really, really needed to put in a good performance today to at least show they're back on track somewhat with City coming to Anfield on Sunday. Part of me was finding the game quite hard to analyse early on because it was pretty even first half. And Liverpool were convincing winners at Anfield against Rangers. But then the narrative was sort of, well, Rangers aren't any good. So yeah, Liverpool weren't actually that impressive. But when you think about it, I mean, Rangers got to the final of the Europa League last season. They're a good side. So the truth is probably somewhere in the middle of that. But we do have to start off by giving a huge amount of credit and praise to Liverpool for what is an outstanding away result. And in particular, Mohamed Salah. The fastest ever Champions League hat-trick in about 6 minutes, 20 seconds, something like that. And I've been heavily critical of Salah this season. I just feel like, as someone who's supposed to be one of our best players, he hasn't been performing like it. He hasn't been looking like it. He hasn't been standing out enough on the pitch. But today, I'm so encouraged by it. It seemed more like the Salah from the beginning, from the first half of last season. The touch looked better. The finishing. I mean, those goals, all three goals were exceptional. I do think the goalkeeper could have maybe done a little bit better at times, but you got to give the credit to Salah. None of those finishes, none of those goals were easy. In fact, they were probably very unlikely situations to actually score from. But he was able to do it. So hats off to him. And I just hope this is the start of a run for Salah where he's going to start finding the back of the net more often because we really, really need him. And as a side point to that, we also have to note that he played centre forward. He played as a striker in this game. So he was closer to the goal. He was naturally in more goal scoring positions, which is something that's been one of the criticisms so far this season, that he's been further wide than usual. So maybe Klopp is going to see him as more of a viable option at the top of this new formation, which is the 4-2-3-1, or almost today it was like a 4-2-2-2. Next, we have to praise Firmino. What a performance. If Salah hadn't just broken that hat-trick record, Firmino was hands down man of the match before that. Excellent on the ball, great touch, intelligent use of possession, playing some penetrating passes, scored 2 goals, got us back in the game. He looked a cut above the rest, similar to how he looked against, even better probably than how he looked against Bournemouth, where he ran that game also. And that just reminds us, people used to say when Firmino plays well, Liverpool play well. And you got to give so much credit to the man, because a lot of people are writing him off. And me personally as well, often I'd see him and I just don't feel like he's playing like he can be a starter for Liverpool, or at least prior to this season. But this year, he is our top goal scorer with 8 goals in 11 appearances. And I believe he has 4 assists as well. That means he's averaging a goal or an assist every 53, 54 minutes. Those are top quality numbers. You gotta hand it to Firmino. In terms of productivity, he's our best forward this season. And by the way, that touch, that pass, that assist for Nunez's goal, oh my God, incredible. I don't know if there's another player in the Premier League who you would see making that assist. It was that damn good. Now that was the praise, but it wasn't all clear sailing today, and we don't want to get too carried away. Firstly, in the first half, Liverpool were average, to be honest. They barely put any passes together in the first 20 minutes. We couldn't seem to get any control of the game. Rangers were, in fairness to them, They had a lot of intensity. They were working hard. They had a high press. They seemed well organized. But we were really lacking quality in that first 20, 30 minutes. And again, we went behind. Why is it that every single game we seem to need to go behind to just suddenly snap into action? And against better sides, you're not necessarily going to be able to put 7 past them after. If they set up shop and defend, it can be very, very difficult. We need to get the players switched on from minute 1 and starting fast again. We used to be excellent at blitzing teams. Where is that? Let's bring that back. To highlight how different the first versus second halves were, Rangers had 6 shots in the first half. Liverpool had 3. In the second half, Liverpool had 17 shots. 17. Rangers had 1. Dominance, pure dominance in the second half. But the first half, even. And we could have been a hell of a lot better. And by the way, out of those 20 shots, Liverpool's expected goals was only 2.3. So what does that tell you? That means that we were absolutely clinical today. Most of the shots on target went in. Now, this isn't always going to be the case. So it wasn't really, the underlying numbers don't suggest that it was really a 7-1 victory. So we don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. Also, we've had a few false dawns already this season. It was brave of Klopp to play Elliott and Carvalho from the start. And he's done it a few times this season, and to be honest, it hasn't really worked out. He did it away against Everton as well. Carvalho in particular, I feel like off the ball, he could work, first half anyway, he should have worked harder. He was a bit slow in possession. He seemed to want too much time on the ball, turned it over quite a few times. He just needs to start with that bit more intensity. What I would say about Carvalho, though, in particular, was he really grew into that game. And as it went on, he looked more and more comfortable. He seemed to be working harder. He seemed to be more switched on. He was playing quicker. That was very encouraging. Elliott started better than Carvalho, but he was still somewhat on the periphery in the first half. But second half, oh my God. So exciting of what I saw from Harvey Elliott. His best 45 minutes I've seen from him in a Liverpool shirt. He was excellent. Great touch, control, feeding the ball. A couple passes went astray, but that's something you can work on. He looked like a threat. He was spinning, running at the defenders, progressing the ball forward. It was a really, really strong performance. And this might be the benefit of him playing on that right-hand side, not as the third man in midfield. He's obviously more suited to that more advanced wide position, which obviously Salah normally takes. But if Salah's going to be this productive in the centre, I don't know, maybe Elliott will get more chances on the right. What that means, though, for Nunes would be another question. But Elliott, I was so delighted he got his goal because he really, really deserved it. I was also ecstatic when Nunes scored. Again, to be honest, he lost the ball quite a lot in the first half, caught offside quite a lot. But I just felt like he really, really needed a goal. And I think we kind of know what sort of player Nunes seems to be now. His hold of play isn't always that great. His passing isn't always that great. But once he gets in the box, his movement, his physicality, his ability to find a finish, I still think he's not a super clinical marksman like a Benzema or maybe a Haaland, but I do think Nunes is still going to score a lot of goals because he generates so many chances. And when things start turning for him, he might score a boatload. So overall, fantastic result. Throws us back in contention to actually win the group, which you definitely wouldn't have thought after losing 4-1 in the first game to Napoli. But if we beat them at Anfield, we're in with a shot now after improving our goal difference by 6 in this game, which is very, very impressive and very unusual for the Champions League. And we only need a point in our last 2 games to guarantee qualification for the last 16, which is incredibly important. The likelihood is we're going to keep the same formation in the game against City. We're going to have to play like we did in that second half throughout that full game. By the way, second half, so much more aggressive. The team were pressing forward more. We were stepping in, winning the ball back early. That's something that's just been missing. It's been glaring this season. The lack of our ability to win the ball back early, it was there in that second half, and we need it again at the weekend. And that has to be the basis of this team progressing again. But today was definitely a step in the right direction. Now let's keep it up and bring on City on Sunday. See you in the next video.